Are you ready to take your ignition game to the next level? Introducing the ultimate exotic gauntlet, a deadly armor piece that will leave your opponents in ashes. This gauntlet is the key to unlocking unimaginable power and also unleashing the most devastating explosion you have ever seen in Destiny 2 history. And also, the new exotic gauntlet can release the devastating waves of fire that can make enemies explode without even trying. No enemy will stand a chance against you with this busted build. But that's not all. The exotic gauntlet also incorporates an exotic that just recently got its very own catalyst, and the exotic weapon is called the Carlo. When you put these two items together, you'll spread explosions on the battlefield. In this video, I'm going to explain what mods, fragments, and weapons you'll need for this build if you want to succeed in the early to mid-game content. And I'm also going to explain what each exotic does and why you are going to need these two exotics to make the most explosions in Destiny 2. Be sure to hit that like button and also subscribe if you would like to see more Destiny 2 broken builds in the current meta. And if you would like to try out the build for yourself, the dim link will also be in the link of the description. Do you want the newest DLC that's coming out in Destiny 2 for free? Well, look no further. I'm doing a $100 giveaway. And as soon as we reach 80 followers on Kick, I'll pick the winner for the giveaway. If you complete all of the tasks, you'll have a higher chance to win the $100. If you would like to learn more, please click in the link of the description. Let's first head to the Solar subclass on the Titan. There are two abilities that you'll need for this build. Let's start with the first one. It is on your super ability and it's called Burning Maul. There are two ways to use the Burning Maul. I'm going to tell you which ones you're mostly going to use to output the most DPS for your super. You're going to slam the maul to the ground and create a cyclone of flames that seeks targets, dealing damage and also scorching them. When doing so, you're going to proc your exotic gauntlet, which is called Pyrogale Gauntlets. Because of the armor perk, it modifies Burning Maul into a single high damage slam of your hammer that creates 5 cyclones of flame. As what you see here, it says 5 cyclones, but actually in game, it's 3. And for the base cooldown, it's 8 minutes and 20 seconds, but we can be able to decrease the cooldown because for this build, your stats, you're mostly going to have intellect. So once you have 100 stats on your intellect, instead of your super cooldown for being for 8 minutes and 20 seconds, it is now going to be 6 minutes and 23 seconds. Why? Because in this build, we're going to be giving you a ton of super energy on melee kills and grenade kills. Now let's head to the second ability that you're mostly going to be using for this build. You're going to need to have this solar aspect, which is called Consecration. Whenever you slide, use your charge melee ability to launch yourself in the air, releasing a solar wave. Once you do that, be sure to hit them with that wave, and as you're in the air, press your charge melee button again to slam on the ground and create a second larger wave, which scorches the target and also makes them ignite. And whenever you activate your Consecration, the second slam creates a cyclone of flames. And also, if you're curious to know which melee ability you would like to use, it really doesn't matter, but for this build, I'm using Hammer Strike. Now that we're done explaining what are the two main abilities you need for this build, now let's head to the Fragments Aspects, the other abilities that you'll need that would benefit for the other two abilities. Now let's head to the second aspect, which is called Roaring Flames. Whenever you get solar ability final blows or ignitions, it increases the damage of your solar abilities and it can stack up to 3 times. And so for this build, you're going to get solar ability kills and also ignitions at the same time because you're using your Consecration. And for the grenade you're going to be using is Solar Grenade, but this one is not mandatory, so you can use any other grenade you would like. Now let's head to the 4 fragments you are going to need for this build. The first one is Ember of Eruption. Your solar ignitions have increased area of effect, and also whenever you ignite an enemy, you can also be able to stun an unstoppable champion. The second one is Ember of Torches. Powered melee attacks against combatants makes you and nearby allies radiant, and radiant also disrupts anti-barrier champions and also gives you a damage buff. The third one is Ember of Char. Your solar ignition spreads scorch to affected targets. And the fourth and final fragment you'll need is Ember of Blistering. Beating targets with solar ignitions grants grenade energy. I don't know if this is an intended bug or Bungie did this on purpose, but you can actually deal extremely more damage with your super, and here is how you can be able to do it. You are first going to get 3 stacks of Roaring Flames. Once you get your 3 stacks of Roaring Flames, activate your super, and once you activate your super, be sure to swap your gauntlet to Syntheseps. Once you have your super active and you have your Syntheseps Syntheseps equipped, be sure to proc Syntheseps and use your heavy attack for your super towards your target, and you'll deal the most damage as you can possibly do with your super. And the bug that I was explaining may go away in the near future, but if it doesn't, I'm just giving you guys a heads up, just in case if you try it in the near future and it doesn't work. Now let's head to the main weapon for this build that would give you tons of melee energy. You're mainly going to be using the Monte Carlo, because whenever you deal damage with this weapon, it reduces your melee cooldown and grants a chance to fully charge your melee ability with each kill. And this weapon also gains increased damage from melee attacks and kills with this weapon. And whenever you get a melee kill, it would refill the magazine for the Monte Carlo. And once you acquire the catalyst for the Monte Carlo, here's what it does. Whenever you have 5 stacks of Markov chain, press your reload button and it will switch between your melee attack to a Monte Carlo bayonet. Whenever you land the bayonet, it will grant you melee energy. So let's just say you have no melee energy. Once you activate your Monte Carlo bayonet, it would grant you half of your melee energy. And if you would kill him, it'll still grant you half of the melee energy. So as long as you hit him, it'll give you half. And here is how you can be able to get the catalyst. You will have a chance to get the catalyst from Strikes, Gambit, or Crucible. But for this build, you're mostly going to be using your melee ability, so the catalyst won't even matter. And for the energy and power weapon, you're most likely never going to be using it, so I'm just not going to explain what you need for the energy and power weapon. Now let's head to the helmet that would give you the most super energy with your melees and your grenades. First mod is hands-on. Whenever you get a melee kill, it grants you bonus super energy. And same goes for ashes to assets. Whenever you get a grenade kill, it would also give you more super energy. And the next mod for the helmet is kinetic siphon, because we're most likely going to be using the Monte Carlo. So whenever you get rapid kinetic final blows, it would give you an orb of power. Now onto the exotic gauntlet. There are 2 mods that will give you an orb of power. The first one is firepower. Whenever you get a grenade kill, it gives you an orb of power. And the second one is heavy-handed. Your powered melee final blow creates an orb of power. And last but not least is impact induction. Whenever you cause damage with a melee attack, it reduces your grenade cooldown. And of course, for this build, you are going to be using your melee ability. So by having this, it would really help you throw your solar grenades even more to give you more super energy. And of course, for every chest armor in Destiny 2, the mods are really garbage. So what I put for this build is charged up, increases the maximum numbers of stacks you can carry of your armor charge by 1. So we would have 4 in total, and I'll explain why after. And the next 2 armor mods are going to be resist mods. The first one is harmonic resistance, which ties to your subclass. And for this build, we're using solar, so it would be reduces incoming solar damage from combatants. And last one is void resistance, reduces incoming void damage from combatants. And here's why I chose to put charged up for the chest. On the boots, the mod is kinetic weapon surge. It gives you a small bonus to damage while you have any armor charges active. So we would have 1 kinetic weapon surge, and that would give us 10% increased damage in PvE. And for the next one, it reduces your grenade cooldown each time you pick up an orb of power, and it's called innervation. And for the last mod for your boots, I chose to put recuperation because there are no other ways to benefit from healing. And of course, you guys want to survive as long as possible with this build. So by having recuperation, it replenishes your health each time you pick up an orb of power, and you're not going to have to worry about orbs of power because you're going to be generating a ton of melee energy, which gives you orbs of power. And last but not least, let's head to the Titan Mark. For the Titan Mark, there's only one mod that is very good for this build, and it's called Time Dilation. Your decaying armor charges have a longer duration. So for the default, it's 10 seconds in total. So by having this, it would increase it to 15 seconds per armor charge. So that would give you a longer time for a weapon damage boost for your Monte Carlo, and that's pretty much it. And the other 2 mods are optional, and I just put it just for the convenience. The second one is Powerful Attraction. It automatically collects nearby orbs of power when you activate your class ability. And last but not least is Bomber. Reduces grenade cooldown when using your class ability. Then again, and the 2 mods that I just explained are Powerful Attraction and Bomber. You can change these armor mods as you please. But for the main one you're going to be using is Time Dilation. And if you guys are curious to know if I used any seasonal mods for this build, I was not using any seasonal mods for this build. I just want to clarify. But if you would like to use seasonal mods, go for it. If you made it this far into the video, I would like to say thank you so much. And also, be sure to put ignition in the comment section. Thank you for watching. Don't forget to subscribe to our channel for more broken Destiny 2 builds.